people, and welcome back to another video here on All Things Teaching with Pena. My name is Pena, here to give you guys everything teaching related. So what are we doing in today's video? In today's video we'll be talking about presentation, lesson presentation. As a student educator, it's very important that you know the content that you're teaching, the content that you're presenting to your learners. So with that comes a lot of research, because the learner's textbook only contains a small amount of information. So in order for them to understand the content, in order for them to have that knowledge that you want them to have, you need to sit back and do a lot of research concerning the topic that you want to present to your learners, concerning the content that you want to present to your learners. Sometimes it may take days, sometimes it may take a few hours, sometimes it may even take weeks of research. However, the internet has made it so much easier for us to gather information in such a short period of time, because we have multiple social media platforms, we have multiple media platforms as well that have that knowledge. So if you know your way around the internet, getting information will take you as long as someone who does not know their way around the internet. So that is number one, research. Number two, content knowledge. You as an educator, before you teach that content to your learners, you must have content knowledge. You must know exactly what it is that you're teaching, how you're going to teach it, why you are teaching it, and how it's going to impact the lives of these learners, and how they can relate what they are being taught in the classroom with the outside world when they're at home or when they are outside of the school premises. Because everything that you teach in a classroom, it must be applicable outside. You must make sure that you teach it in such a manner that it will be applicable to the learners when they are at home, when they're with their friends visiting, when they're at a Kruger National Park, or just somewhere across the globe. They must be able to take that knowledge and use it in their lives, apply it to their daily lives. So that would be number two. So number three, you literally need to know what it is that you're doing, because learners can tell when you're not prepared. So you need to be prepared. Learners can tell when a teacher is not prepared, that ma'am, you did not prepare, or sir, today you are not prepared. And you must also be able to think on your feet. When you don't know something, you must be able to think on your feet. Be able to use open-ended questions when you don't know something, so that the learners can be able to be like, oh yeah, I get it now. Okay, so for me, during my teaching practicals, presentation for me had to be spot on. I made sure that before I present a lesson, I sit back, I do research, I take the learner's textbook, I look at it, I look at the content that's inside, the content that needs to be taught. Fine. Then I get home, I get to my apartment, I start doing research. I do research based on that content. What else can I add? What else can I subtract? You know, how else can I make this lesson interesting and engaging? Because it's all about the learner. It's not just about you. It's all about the learner, because learners are sponges. Children are like a sponge. They soak up everything that you give to them, whether be it positive thoughts, negative thoughts, or positive affirmations, negative affirmations. Whatever it is that you as an educator pour out to these learners will suck it and they will keep it with them. They will retain it. So it's important that you as an educator, you do not become a barrier to learning for these learners when you're presenting your lesson. So that also goes with dress code. That also goes with the way that you behave, the way that you carry yourself in the classroom setting and outside of the classroom setting, maybe like during break time or so, during changing of classes. So as an educator, it's very important that you keep a lookout for your dress code, which would be number 4. Your dress code, the way that you carry yourself when you're wearing those clothing. Because I've noticed that some educators, they really don't know how to dress, because when you're standing in front of a learner or learners, those are not your children. Those are someone else's kids. Someone else trusted the institution with their kids, saying that we trust you as an institution, therefore we are giving you our children so that you can teach them what we cannot teach them, what we are not able to teach them. That means that we are leaving you in their care, right? So if you as an educator become a barrier to learning, how do you expect learners to pass? How do you expect learners to actually focus? So it's very, very important that you as an educator, when you are standing in front of the class or when you are in class presenting a lesson, you must make sure that your dress code is applicable to the classroom setting, not to your apartment, not when you are on a vacation, but when you are in a classroom setting, because you need to be professional at all times. When you are in a classroom setting, when you are at an institution, a school institution, whether be it preschool, primary, high school, tertiary, as an educator of any teaching phase, you need to be professional all the time. Not half of the time, not a quarter of the time, but all the time. That includes the language that you speak to these learners. Because yes, these learners will provoke you. They will push you to react. But as an educator, as someone who's older than them, as the bigger person, you must be able to retain those emotions. You must be able to stay calm. You must be able to collect yourself, to collect those emotions and choose your words wisely. Because sometimes when you speak, the words that come out of your mouth may actually hurt these learners based on personal experience, based on what they're going through, based on what they've seen at home. Because when you are an educator, you don't know the situation of these learners. You might know just a small amount of it. You might know the whole situation. You might not know what they're hiding. Sometimes these learners, they carry on so much burden on their shoulders. And you as an educator, when you come into the classroom, you start shouting and yelling and screaming and doing all that. You don't even consider what it is that the learner went through yesterday, this morning, before they came into the school premises. Because there's so much that can happen within the previous day and the present day. There's so much that can take place. So you don't know whether that learner ate, whether that learner had a good night's sleep, whether the parents were fighting, whether the parents are divorced, or what is happening at home. You don't know that. Maybe they got into a fight with their cousin, with their twin brother, twin sister, with their siblings. You don't know that, and it hurt them, and they come to school and they're so stressed, you know, they're so emotional, they're so hurt from what happened, and you come and you add on to their pain, you add on to their frustration that they're going through. So it's important as an educator to choose your words wisely, which is number 5. Your words, what comes out of your mouth. You must be aware of what comes out of your mouth. You must be aware of what you say to these learners. If you've made a mistake, say sorry, apologize. You're human. You're human. You're not a robot. You're not an alien. You're human. So mistakes are bound to take place. So that means that you need to apologize if you've offended a learner, if maybe by any chance, by any means, you'd say something offensive and you were not aware of it. Maybe you were just saying it passing by, you were not, saying it to someone directly, but because of those learners, they can actually relate to what you're saying. It hurt them. And you don't know that, you didn't know, they didn't tell you. So it's important to also build a relationship with these learners. I know as student educators, we are only at the school for a short period of time, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever the weeks may be, depending on the institution that you are in. As a student, some students, they, depending on the institution, they go there for a month, also depending on the year of study that you are in. So there are many roles that take place with being a student educator. Sometimes you're there for a short period of time, sometimes you're there for a long period of time. But however the case may be for you and for myself, it's important that we build relationships with these learners so that they can know that, you know what, I can learn from you. I can learn something from you. Even when you pour out something to them, make sure that you pour out something that will encourage them, that will motivate them, that you know what, you can do this. Reprimand the learners where they are wrong, because you can't allow the learners to just be relaxed and just do as they please. No, they must know that there are rules in the classroom that they need to obey. They must know that there's a certain standard that is expected of them in terms of their schoolwork. So you as an educator, you need to step up and step in during certain situations when learners are fighting, when learners are using vulgar language, amongst each other, whether they're joking, the kind of jokes that they make, the kind of play method that they use. You must be able to step in and correct them, you know, reprimand the action that is taking place, you know, because with every action comes a consequence. There's a consequence attached to an action, and there's also a responsibility attached to life. They need to be responsible for their homeworks. They need to be responsible for the work that is given to them in class. They need to be responsible for the tasks and assignments that are given to them. They need to be responsible for their education, because they also need to take charge of their own lives. They need to take charge of their education and be like, you know what, I am an individual. I can do this. I am able. They must take charge and they must ask, you know, be that educator that is approachable. Be approachable to the learners. Be approachable to them, male, female, whatever the grade may be. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. From me, here at All Things Teaching with Pena, it's a wrap. So please, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's keep this conversation going. As I always say, this is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys have to say concerning this video, concerning this conversation that we just had. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you in another video. Bye.